Dear Agent of the Universe, I read your letter with great trepidation, as I already knew its contents before I opened it. In fact, I have known it for some time now because I have faced the same struggle as you as we are connected on a deeper level than you and I are even aware of yet. I too find it hard to remain present while you sit firmly in the recess of my mind, the part of my mind where logic, as defined by the material world, would normally shout at me, tell me to shut this door, put a lock on it, and walk away. And yet I don't. I can't. Over the years, and even now, I have literally met a vast amount of intelligent and interesting men from every background and every profession, from Nobel Peace Prize winners and jet fighter pilots, but I have never found myself where I am today, with you, an unknown. I have done the meditation, sat back and looked at this as an observer, gone down the road of my past influences to see if I'm repeating a habit or searching for some sort of validation, but nothing fits. So I am now surrendering completely to the universe when it comes to you, especially as we don't fit in any box, you and I. Therefore, to apply our learned logic or view it and analyze it from our past is impossible and just plain old wrong. Over the last couple of weeks, I have listened to you, really listened, and I have heard fear and I have hit walls, so many walls. Your repeated mantra of all I can do is stay present is understandable and right in so many ways, as there is only ever this moment, and being present is what yoga espouses. But we go a step further. We learn to bring down walls, to remove fear and conditionings, and be present with awareness. So we may see when doors are opening up for us to embark on a path that matches nothing that we've experienced before, where we allow our soul, the I, to guide us and not our conditioned mind and its partner fear to influence us. We strip away everything that is known to us and lay ourselves open to the unknown, but from a place of knowledge, not ignorance. And this is what these letters aim to do, to erase where there is ignorance and replace it with knowledge. To step through an open door is not to take away from the present, but to open to a new future that often fits in the unimaginable. For me, there is nothing that is unimaginable or unattainable. So instead of viewing me from the lens of your past, step out into that vast, enormous, infinite space outside your conditioned brain and see me from there. I believe it is important to understand and look back at your past in so much as the influence it exerts on your behaviors and your decisions in the present. We think that learning from a mistake is to set up barriers to not repeat them. But what it really means is to look within you, to understand how to heal and change that conditioning, and to let it go so it no longer holds power over you. In doing so, you no longer have to build walls, because the source of that mistake no longer holds power over you. It's magic, really. I know one of your biggest barriers is the distance between us, and yet really, there is none. We, like everything on this earth, are merely vibrating energy. Matter, which is what our world is made up of, is slow vibrating energy. And when energy is like this, it tends to organize itself in a way that we think and see ourselves as separate to everything around us. Scientists did this experiment where they increased the vibration of two photons in a vacuum. They believed that if we were truly separate from each other, then when one photon disappeared, the other would disappear soon after it. But what happened surprised the pants off of them, metaphorically speaking, of course. They both disappeared at the exact same time, because there is no separation between anything. What separates us is merely the degree at which we vibrate. But aside from that, we all exist on the same plane and are therefore connected to each other rather than separate from each other. Distance, therefore, is merely an illusion. But before I go, I thought it was time to introduce you to my teacher, the universe. I will try and explain this as simply as possible, but let's first start with its parent, the All. The All is exactly that. It is everything within and beyond our imagination. It is the infinite space that encompasses everything and is a part of absolutely everything. The universe is one of the meditative states of the All. The universe, or infinite space, is filled with frequencies that carry information. It is a mind, but not the shallow, frivolous mind that we identify with. Instead, the word most often used to describe the mind and life is the universe, is spirit. It is a single field of information where there is no time, where polarities and dualities, I will explain these two terms in my next letters, become one, where there's no separation or division, where everything we ever need to know exists, where past, present, future versions of our energetic selves all inhabit the infinite space at the same time. It is where our pure consciousness lives on long after our body has died. Each frequency that makes up the universe are a different dimension of reality. So depending on our frequency, the rate at which our cells, etc., are vibrating, we each experience a different level of consciousness, connectivity, and information when connecting to the universe. But we can only ever connect to the universe when we are emitting a frequency that matches those in the universe. For example, if you think of yourself as a mass of vibrating energy and your pineal gland as your antenna, which it is, then if you're emitting the frequency of a radio, but the universe is on high-speed Wi-Fi frequency, that connection is impossible. But fear not, there is a way to increase and change your frequency to make that connection, which I hope to share with you over these letters so this daunting distance between us is rendered irrelevant. All living things on earth are visualizations and manifestations of the universe. The best way for me to describe it is how it was described to me in the book The Kybalion, the ancient Hermetic teachings. Think of Shakespeare as the universe and his characters as us humans. We are a visualization of Shakespeare and created by him, but at the same time, we are not him, and each of us embody our own essence. You could then rightly claim that Othello is not a direct reflection of Shakespeare, yet he exists only because Shakespeare created him. But strip away Othello's personality, and you get a little closer to Shakespeare. Going one step further, think of the universe as a soul hub into which every living thing is plugged into, a consciousness that we all share. So when we are plugged in, we communicate with and are connected to every living thing on the planet, including the planet and the infinite space that holds it. Therefore, when we clear-cut rainforests, destroy habitats, kill animals, we are in fact killing ourselves, literally. Only when we are truly connected to our soul, which is the same as the universal soul consciousness, do we understand that we are not separate from everything around us, including the space that envelops us, but we are a part of it, the same as it. And this is where yoga emerges. Let us just set the record straight here. Yoga is not an exercise. It is a way of life, a pathway to regain our connection to everything. I say regain because we are born with all the knowledge we need to know that we are not alone, that we are loved and a part of something much bigger, that we have superhero powers of telepathy, teleportation. But as we grow and our mind is fed a vast array of half-truths and illusions from society, media, our family, friends, our ignorance expands and slowly covers our knowledge and buries it. It is this lack of knowledge of our true self that is the source of all of our pain. The study of yoga is therefore gaining of all the knowledge we need to know to erase our ignorance so that our soul may step forward. To do this, to erase everything that has ever been planted in our head so we can defog the mirror that reflects our soul, is a long and hard process. You don't just pick up yoga here and there on a whim when it suits you. If you really want to live a life of beautiful unknowns, of peace and happiness, in harmony with your environment, then you have to do the work every single day. There is no app, miracle retreat, 21-day program, 1-month ashram, gym membership that will get you to Destination Universe. Because to truly reap the benefits and magnificence of vibrating at a higher frequency, where you find yourself talking energetically to eagles, which are everywhere I go these days, trees, oceans, fish, where the doors that open for you and the people that walk into your life fill you to the brim, you have to do the work. You have to study. You have to practice all aspects of yoga all day, every day. What most people do not realize is that there are several limbs that make up the body of yoga. The first limbs that we start out with is our yogic journey are yamas and niyamas, which are ethical guidelines on how to interact with others and the world we find ourselves inhabitants of, so we can move through our life with joy and calmness. Because our behavior has a direct bearing on our central nervous system, the development of our neurological pathways that guide our actions, the level of which our energy vibrates, our aging process, if genes that predispose us to diseases are turned on or off, our overall physical, mental, and emotional health, to name just a few. All of them are influenced by our behavior. There are 5 basic yamas and niyamas, of which I will explain in deeper in the following letters. Then there are asanas, poses, the physical practice you find in most studios. Asanas connect you with your body and begin the process of unraveling blocked energy channels in you, as well as strengthening and stretching your body so that it no longer acts as an impediment to sitting in meditation. After that, there is breathing and the numerous techniques that exist to move, shift, and unblock trapped energy within us, to begin to ignite and widen the energetic magnetic field that exists around each and every one of us, but also to lift our electrical brainwaves to gamma, the highest frequency where that connection to the information in the infinite space is made possible. Next, there is the process of withdrawing from our senses so we can engage in awareness as a means of observing all the conditionings that form the basis of me, and ultimately to connect to our true self, henceforth known as our I. Learning to concentrate deeply on one thing as opposed to superficially on several things so you can move into meditation with ease. Then there's meditation, the connector to the infinite space so that we may finally merge and become one with our universe, as opposed to live in the belief that we are separate from it. I must leave now, as the ocean beckons me. I am sure that in my former life I was either a mermaid or some oceanic creature, as I love water, and it is where I feel most at peace and connected to the world. But I have been told that it is because my soul is influenced by the Indus Valley civilization, and this civilization was near water. That too would make sense. Love, the Enchanted Yogi.